morning, everyone. Good morning. I am so glad to be here at Kardec Radio, and today we're going to start a show talking about mediocrity. We're talking about things that are going to be healthy and influential and good for our soul. So every morning on Sundays at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, we're going to pick a topic, and every topic could be suggested, so I can aboard it. I will just talk about it the next weekend. So today's topic is going to be mediocrity. Give me just 1 second. I'm going to share it also on my Facebook profile. The topic itself is always chosen by one of the viewers, and this also will be at Kardec Radio. You can go to the website, or you can go to the application on your phone and you can watch it. So anyway, mediocre. Many people want to know, what is mediocre? What is to be a person who is mediocre? What is a mediocre life? None of us really like that word. None of us really want to be mediocre. None of us want to lead a mediocre way of being. Now, I'm going to share this, and we're going straight to the topic. So I'm going to simply hitting my share button, and this way, okay, I'm not able to share for some reason. It's the first show, so give me a little break here just so I can learn things, navigate things a little better. Well, that's okay. Let's not worry about sharing. First of all, when the spirits tell us that we have to come here and we have to do something with our lives, what do they mean? When we're here to be tested, or we're here for expiations. We're here because in past lives, we have done a few things that we need not only to correct, but to really show that we have learned from our past experiences. So when we're here on earth, they say that we only do about 30% of the things that we have planned in past lives. So think about it. If we have a planning of anything and we can only accomplish about 30% of what we have planned, that is a little bit less than ideal. Can we all agree on that? And of course, you all are welcome to share any ideas, any good mornings, anything that I can see your comments, and we can talk about them at the end. This is only going to be about 20 minutes. So mediocre, what is the meaning of it? It's really about being average, just being the middle of the way. You know, when you buy a mediocre product, you always say, well, this product could be so much better, but it's just mediocre. So who really wants to be mediocre? In truthful, nobody really wants to be mediocre. The problem is some people define a mediocre life differently than others. So when I say that I live a mediocre life, I can look down and say, oh, I live a mediocre life. So what that is saying is I could be living a life that is better for me. I know I could do better, but I'm settling. And that is the difference. It does not mean that a person who's mediocre is one who has less money, who has less of anything. That doesn't mean anything. You can have an abundant wealth. You can have many things in your life and still be living a mediocre life. Mediocre is kind of middle of the way. You know it could be better, but you're really not doing anything for that to be better. Now we know that we are born for greatness. We all know that. We have, and we know that when God created us simple and ignorant, He also put this little touch of light inside of us, this divinity inside of us, for us to be moving forward with part of His greatness as well. And we all have greatness. And that is why the topic of mediocrity comes in. What are we doing with that greatness that God has instilled inside of our hearts, inside of our being? We are beings that should be enlightening everything around us. We are beings that should be walking and smiling and saying good morning to all. That I see a few people are saying good morning here already. Good morning, Marilda. Good morning, Corey. So I would like to say, why not excel at what we are here proposing to do? And I'll give you an example. First of all, of course, we can look at our master example, who is our Lord, our brother, Jesus Christ. And he came here with this humble demeanor. He came here not to show off, and that is so contrary of not being mediocre. He comes here and he does in 3 years things that we can only dream of and doing one day of what he did. And why is that? Because he did not settle for mediocrity. Now, I'm going to tell you a little story and give you a little example of a mediocre person, okay? And this is someone at their work site. Now, this is a story that is on the internet. I'm not sure of the author, but if you guys can find out, you can always let me know. And again, the names, I'll tell you a little bit of what I remember of the story. And it goes something like that. There were a few employees at this firm, at this employment firm, and one of the employees' name was John. So John came to his boss. He's been there for about 20 years at this place. And John comes to his boss and says, I've been here for 20 years. I've been here doing the same work, and I think I deserve, a little bit more recognition. This guy, Jake, just came in about 3 months ago, and I hear that he's up for promotion, and I've been here for about 20 years. So the boss says, John, you came at such a great time because I need you to do something for me. Before we continue this conversation, I need you to go to the store next door, and I need you to ask how much the pineapples are being sold, because I'm going to do a luncheon after work, and I want to provide fruits for my employees. So can you please go to the store and find out how much the pineapples are being sold for? So John did just that. John went to the store next door to the firm, and he came back and he told his boss, Boss, the pineapple is being sold at $1.50 each pineapple. So the boss says, oh, and are there enough pineapples? He says, oh, I didn't ask that. And boss said, and did you look at anything else? Did anything else entice you? And he says, no, I just asked what you told me to do. Okay, so the boss gets on the phone and calls Jake, this employee that's been there for only 3 months. So Jake comes in, and in front of John, the boss asks Jake the same question. He says, Jake, can you please go to the store next door and find out how much the pineapple is being sold for? I plan to have a luncheon here for the employees after work today, and I would like to know how much it is. So Jake goes, and John had only taken 5 minutes for this trip. However, Jake took about 8 minutes and came back to the boss. So Jake said, Boss, the pineapple is being sold for $1.50 a pound, and I also checked the prices for all of the other things. I also checked the prices for the pears, for the apples. I've planned that we have 50 employees, so I already put all the pineapples on hold for you. And I also negotiated with the man of the store for the pineapples. If I buy in bulk, he would give me 15%. So I just put him on hold in case you want me to order them. So now we can see a little difference, correct? Now we can see that there's a big difference in what we are doing. We are going to be our full selves, or are we going to be mediocre? So, of course, John understood why Jake was getting the promotion. So you see, you can understand what being just giving enough or going above and beyond. Now, the spirits tell us that we're here on this planet, and we're here on this amazing, beautiful planet, to always thrive, to always go a little beyond what we planned. And yet, we settle for doing about 30%, more or less, of what we have planned in the reincarnatory conversations before we decided to come in this lifetime. So why being mediocre is so settled inside of us? And Paul says above and beyond. Absolutely. We always have to go above and beyond on the things that is really dear to us. What parent wants to just be that kind of parent? Just a parent. We want to be a good parent. We want to be the best teacher we can be. Of course, we cannot be the best in everything that we do. The thing is, be the best that you can do in everything that you do. See, there's a big difference. When we put ourselves forward and we say, I am going to not live a life that is mediocre. I am going to have Jesus as my leader. I'm going to put him as the one that I'm going to follow. Then it is impossible to be mediocre. It is impossible. This gospel, Kardec, if we look at him, at his example, at no time Kardec settled for mediocrity. At no time Kardec said, I think I'm going to do just one book, only the book of the spirits, because you know what, this is enough. He went from the first for the second, after 5, after all of the books, because of the other one. He also did all of these articles. He was always thriving to do something above and beyond. So now, when we look in our own lives, and it doesn't matter if I'm a homemaker, it doesn't matter if I'm the VIP of a football team, if I am the CEO of a company, it is not about the post that you are serving in this lifetime. It is about how are you serving? How are you being in this post that you are, in this title that you take? Because again, many people can have amazing lives. Other people can have mediocre lives. And it doesn't matter with how much money or where you live. It means with the inside. And again, we are all born to have this amazing way of being, because we are children from God. We all cannot settle for less than greatness, because we have greatness within our hearts. We all have greatness. So it is a shame to allow mediocrity to take our souls, to settle for this. I remember that when I first started school, there was this one class, and it was my first class, and I was young in college, and the professor, there were many students at the class, and the professor said, 95% of you will go on to live mediocre lives. And maybe, and he said, and I'm being generous, maybe 5% will go on to be great at what they do. So when I heard that, it was such a shock to me. And he says, and I mean mediocre by, I know that you all are capable of so much more. I know that you are capable of doing amazing things in your lives, being amazing parents, having this amazing faith that you can spread to the world. But you will choose to stop halfway. So you see, mediocre, the medium, the middle of the way. Many of you will stop there and you will settle. So I remember thinking, I do not want that. I do not want to be someone that's going to stop in the middle of the way. And we know that sometimes there are so many plans and there are so many dreams in our lives. And we say, and we know with Spiritism, we know that some things we're here to experience as a basis of learning for us to achieve our full potential in our next life. And that's amazing and that's okay. So what I have to do with that material, maybe I'm not going to be that person that I wanted to be, because I just realized that this is what I want to be, and now it's a little too late. I can't be a ballerina at 40 years old. Let's say that I think that way. Well, that's okay. But can you be the best ballerina you can be? Can you work at stretching your body a little better? Can you work at your voice talents a little better? With Spiritism, I always think about mediocrity, and us not spreading this beautiful doctrine. And we think of the parable of the talents. And when they say that that man went out in a journey and he distributed his 8 talents to his servants. One got 5 talents, the other one got 2 talents, and the other servant got 1 talent. And then this man went on his journey. entrusting these people with his talents. So when he came back a long time ago, he wanted to see what they did with these talents. The one that had received 5 talents, he doubled it. He invested it, and he doubled it. So this man was very happy with him, and he said, "What a great servant. You doubled my talent." The one that had received 2 talents always also doubled his talents. But the one that had received 1 talent, he had dug a hole, put his talent in there, and when this man returned, he returned the talent. And so the employee, this man that gave his talent, said, "Wicked and slothful servant, why do you only give back 1 talent?" Now, think about it. If you have received all of these talents, and let's think of talents in the literal word, talent, all of these things that you're capable of doing. And it doesn't matter how much money, how smart, how beautiful, how anything you are, because we all have talents. And that is the beautiful thing. We all share different talents. Maybe someone has the talent of speaking. Others have a talent of cooking. Others have a talent of speaking the gospel. So here at Kardec Radio, of course, there is a talent of so many volunteers that make this beautiful work of united people to share the gospel, to share spiritism with all these people that perhaps have never heard about. So anyway, so the servant that buried this talent, what did he do? He was afraid. He was afraid that he would be yelled at, or he was afraid that he would lose his talent. And he did nothing with it. He acted with mediocrity. He didn't want to do anything about it. It was actually less even than mediocrity, because he was so afraid. And sometimes we don't do things in our lives because we are so afraid. But when we think that there is a God and there is an amazing Father watching over us, there is no reason to be afraid. We are only afraid of ourselves, of our failures. I will tell you something. Being on anything live, you expose yourself to criticism. Many people are afraid of being criticized. But those who will not expose themselves, they will not be criticized, but they also will not do anything in the world. They will not spread this beautiful word that we have learned from these amazing spirits. So being a spiritist, let's think of that as a talent. If you have this knowledge and you are bearing it and you are not going out there, if Jesus came in 3 years, he asked us to spread the word, the good news. And then that is what he asked of us. He asked of us one thing, to do in his name, to spread this gospel, to let others know his way, because his way is the only way to our betterment, to our evolution. So when we just say nothing, when we do nothing with this material that we have, we are bearing our talents. And that is why it is said that we are wicked and slothful. Because sometimes we have so many chances of saying something that might change somebody else's life. And that is the whole point of doubling your talents, of putting your talents out there and not being mediocre and not just knowing something but not moving it and passing it forward. So that is the meaning of this morning's topic. Look at your life. Think about, are you here doing the things that perhaps you have planned in a different past life? Are you here doing the things that even in this life you have dreamed and proposed to do? And I'm not just saying as far as spreading the good news, spreading the word of the good news that Jesus has come to tell us, to go and tell everyone. But in Spiritism, how consoling it is to know that life is not all over after we discarnate. How amazing is it to know that we will rejoice and we will see all of our loved ones that have discarnated, that have passed away. This is so consoling that it is a shame that someone would have this information inside of them and would not pass it on. So this is why not bearing this talent is so important for us to double our talents, to triple our talents. And we all have talents. Now, I would like to know if you are living a mediocre life. And let's just think about that. Are we really living a mediocre life? Are we really just putting all of this stuff and bearing all our dreams? Or are we just saying, I just want to live in the middle, not really go a little step above? So when we stop and think about these things, it moves us. It moves us to move forward and say, I refuse to live a mediocre life. I refuse to be less than anything else that I can be better at. I refuse to hide all my talents. And I'm not going to be afraid of any criticism. I'm not going to be afraid of any trolls that come in to bring me down. I'm not going to be afraid of anyone that is in an apparent position of power. I am going to be the best person that I can be, and I'm going to spread this amazing news to everyone. Think about it again. That story of the pineapple. Are we being John or are we being Jake? Think of the story. Think of the parable of the talents. Am I being the one faithful servant that God has entrusted 5 talents, the maximum that he could do fairly? And he does the talents. The amazing thing is he gives us the talents according to our abilities. He will not give us more than we can bear. And that is, I think, the key to that parable. This man who is God gives us these talents to the ability of what we can accomplish. So again, I would like to say that let's think about our own selves. Let's think about where I am. Let's think about, am I living a mediocre life? Do I want to be taken out from the inside of me? All this amazing being that I am, this greatness that I have inside, and making it grow and becoming a better person. So that is the question that we can think about this week. This is the question that we can explore inside of us, that we can reflect, and maybe we can bring forth the best that we can, that we have inside, and say, no, I refuse as of today to live anything less than greatness. I refuse to be anything less than the best version of myself. I am not going to be mediocre. I am not going to accept being just halfway anywhere. So that is my message, my friends. And I welcome you to see this will be broadcasted at Kardec Radio online and also on the podcast. And I hope that I can see you here next Sunday at 8:30. We will always start at 8:30 unless there is an emergency, of course. And then we will go about 20 minutes, 30 minutes tops. If you want to leave any messages, any good mornings, hello to everyone. And now I can say a few hellos here. I am going to see Marilda Vega. We have Corey Leahy. We have Carlos Eduardo from Brazil. Hello, Carlos. And we have Laura Brazil too, I think. She's in Brazil. Vanessa, of course, is watching. Our Vanessa, of course. And we have Paul Sexton. We have Bill. We have, hello, Bill from Sunny Valley, we would say in Brazil. And we have Matthew. And we have a few people here. So welcome, everyone. And I hope that I could share a little bit of what I have learned for myself. I am so far from knowing anything. I am just here to share a little bit of what we can make of ourselves, of the things that we can be a little bit more reflective. So, Nora, I'm from McAllen, Texas. Okay, nice, Texas. I love Texas. And again, everyone, thank you, and we will see you all at 8:30. If there's any topics that we can talk about, I am a lover of psychology, of spiritism, so we can combine both And I love to just reflect on things that can make our souls thrive. So that is what it is. And again, last person here I'm saying hi to is Luciano. Hello from Brazil, Florianópolis. Welcome everyone, and I hope that you have an amazing Sunday. Thank you so much. God bless you all.